Peace. It's the Hood Mystic, and today we're explaining the law of cause and effect, fully explaining it. Uh, but I am the Hood Mystic, representing hoodmystic.com. For any questions, comments, or concerns, be sure to hit me up at hoodmystic@gmail.com. So let's just get into this. The law of cause and effect. The law of cause and effect is explained as every cause has its effect, and every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. Let's break down each section of what that truly means. So the first section is every cause has its effect, and every effect has its cause. What that is saying is that cause and effect are together as one. You can't escape the effects without the causes. So just keep that in mind, that cause and effects are one. And when it is said that everything happens according to law, generally when we see things happening and we don't examine the effects, we just view that as chance. Things are happening by circumstance or things of that nature. But the law states that chance is but a name for law not recognized, meaning that the things that we write off as chance are the things that we just simply don't recognize in our law of cause and effect, or our law of causation. The last part explains that there are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law, meaning that we cause things that happen on many different ways that we're not consciously aware of, but yet and still nothing escapes this law. And so ultimately, if you've been following us in this universal law, we've been kind of decoding and understanding these laws so we can rise above it. Generally, we want to understand these laws because we are unconscious to these laws, and in being conscious of these laws, we understand them, then we overstand them, we go farther. So I just want to make people aware that causality is a big subject. People spend their whole lives trying to understand cause and effect. So this is just to stimulate you into understanding cause and effect on a personal level, to kind of get you moving in that direction. There will be no epiphanies or miracles due to this conversation. The epiphany and miracle comes in work in making this a lifetime obligation. So understand this. This is not a lottery ticket situation. So, but we still want to understand it, and it's still very important, and it can very well save your life if you fully understand what the law of cause and effect is really saying. Everything happens according to law. Nothing ever merely, quote unquote, happens. And there is no such thing as chance. And so, understanding that there are higher levels to your conscious mind can help you understand cause and effect on a personal level. So, we have the example of the rain as a cause, and the actual rain falling down on a girl's head as an effect. But she has her umbrella on. So generally we want to study cause and effect, because no, we cannot stop the rain. But we can decide when to use an umbrella, or when to have a jacket, or when to go into shelter to avoid something that may or may not be unpleasant. So let's discuss this poem, and let's examine this art. So this art is a man sweeping trash into the sea while, quote unquote, God is looking down at him shoveling, because he thinks as though humans think that we can just pollute the nation and put trash into the sea. Then at the same time, we'll have a Hurricane Harvey and feel as though like this thing just happened out of pure thin air. No, it's a cause and effect. You figure all the oil spills, like, people don't give a shit about Mother Nature. And so Mother Nature will come back with fury and force. And until we recognize that we are one with it, then it will continue to be this way. And it probably will continue to get worse because we are treating the land worse. We're still chopping down rainforests. We're still, you know, and you may not be doing it, but representing the human race, like, you still have to deal with the consequences. So let's go into this poem. You can study the ancients for all that's concealed, or you can look toward intentions to have all be revealed. It's as simple as saying that your thoughts are alive. They create actions and reactions to the unseen that are unseen to the eyes. It's difficult understanding that life's a charade, or that fears create reality if you're slightly afraid. A guru can teach you the path that's unsaid, but these words try to show you that it's inside of your head. So all of these things that you think are of value, you've created that. And so it's important for you to take a step back to really figure out what's truly of value to you. You know why? Because it's a game that's being played. And if you're not aware of the game that's being played, then more than likely you're a pawn of it. So the law of cause and effect is for the individual to take control of his life outside of being controlled by the masses, whether it be news or even family. Because your family will dominate you and have you doing things that they want you to do and living a life that they deem right outside of what you personally feel. So you want to get in contact with how you personally feel so you can rise above all of what's going on in the world. Like, this is not a message for the people of the planet. Metaphysics, consciousness is a message for you. And that's what we need to fully understand. So many times people get on a pulpit and start saying a whole bunch of random shit and having a bunch of followers, and you know what I'm saying. And that's just like being a rapper. You know what I'm saying? It's not, these dudes might just make some money and you not healed or nothing. You understand what I'm saying? So ultimately, to fully understand consciousness has got to be something that you're willing to work through and really willing to work on. Becoming a master, becoming an initiate is rising above the plane to dominate your own mood, dominate your own character, develop your own qualities and own powers. Where is all of this coming from? It's all coming from the soul. So to bypass the law of cause and effect, you have to turn your attention inward and not into the masses and the concert and the crowd and the TikTok, going to work every day. Like, all of that is keeping you in a place that is, and that's your real karma, and that's really your cause and effect. So you have to step outside of that to really understand. And so when we talk about the universal law, we talk about the author Hermes Trismegistus. Hermes Trismegistus is just a further extension of Thoth, and Thoth writ in his emerald tablets this excerpt right here that I think we really need to take real awareness to and really focus on what Thoth is saying, because generally these are words that have already been said and I'm just kind of compiling them and putting them together. It's not about me. It's really about the ancient way of thinking, the ancient way of being. So those who have ears, please let them hear. Know ye, O man, that all the future is an open book to him who can read. All the future is an open book, remember. All effect shall bring forth its causes as all effects grew from the first cause. Know ye the future is not fixed or stable, but varies as cause brings forth an effect. Look in the cause thou shalt bring into being, and surely thou shalt see that all is an effect. So, know ye, the future is never in fixation, but follows man's free will as it moves through. So understand, in this moment, from where you're at now, you have an open book to create the life that you truly want to create. That is your choice. That is your birthright. It's your responsibility to take control and take hold of that. And it's going to be hard if you feel as though you have to survive or you're living in a state of fear. Then that fear is the cause to future effects. So we have to get out of that. How do we get out of that? We have to understand karma. Most people think that they understand karma, but they truly don't. Because karma, for one, is a spiritual concept, and karma, for two, is an Eastern concept. Us being from the West, we are consumers, we are materialists, we know nothing about spirituality, and we're from the West, so we don't understand Eastern thought because we just don't. So we have to look at it and take it apart. There's a story, before I explain this, there's a story as Buddha was dying. As Buddha was dying, a man had came to him and wanted to learn, but it was like 2 hours away from his death. And Ananda, one of Buddha's bodyguards, was trying to block this man, like, you know, he's about to die, he done teaching, like. And Buddha heard that. He said, no, I'm gonna teach till my last breath. And so he answered all the questions that the young man had, and he ended up teaching him until his last dying breath. And the significance of that story is that Buddha laid rest upon a tripod. He laid to rest on 3 sticks, and that represented cause and effect, because the 3 sticks were interchangeable and they held his weight. But if one of those sticks were to fall, then, you know, the great Buddha would fall down. So his dependency was dependent on these 3 sticks, and these 3 sticks to work together for support. So those 3 sticks were Kama, Artha, and Dharma. Kama and Artha work together on a material level, and that's where people are at. Kama and Artha. And if you kind of fuck those words together, you get the word karma. But that is not the karma that is talked about in Eastern thought. Karma in Eastern thought, which is a spiritual realization or a spiritual effect, is a result of the cause of Kama and Artha and Dharma, those 3 sticks, okay? Dharma is your spiritual realization, being one with spirit, being one with soul. And when you're one with spirit and you're one with soul, that aligns your Kama and Artha naturally. And you, because it's not to be Dharma 100%, because then what am I doing but meditating? It's still rent that need, like, we in the real world. It's still rent that need to be paid, mortgage that need to be paid, and it's shit that needs to happen. And I'm not like, I got feelings and desires. I need to be loving on somebody. Like, I just have to have somebody to love on. So, but I can't be loving no prostitute. I have to be aligned with somebody that has a spiritual pathway that's aligned with me. Because if I'm out at the mounds, I will want somebody there with me. So, of course, we have a spiritual bond. And so it's okay in the universe for us to be together. Therefore, we have a prosperous union. She's happy. I'm happy. The sex is great. We have a future. You know what I'm saying? We don't argue. We don't fight. We don't, you know what I'm saying, sneak this. You know what I'm saying? It's a real thing. So, but that's because it's aligned with my spiritual path. I generally can't be in a relationship with just any old girl because that's not aligned with my dharma. And for instance, I have been though, and the karma that comes with being with women that's not aligned with my dharma, the karma is just unbearable. I like the karma that I'm experiencing now with my relationship and the things that's going. So that represents me knowing that what I'm supposed to be doing. And then on a personal level, this consciousness and this spiritual development is something that I will do for the rest of my life. Like he keeps dropping videos. I have so much shit to talk about. It's ridiculous. So like I'm gonna do this forever. I know that this is what I'm supposed to do. So therefore, this is something that it is a generally peaceful existence for which I'm existing in this moment because my kama, artha, and dharma is aligned. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So can you see how if you're working at McDonald's and you fucking with Susie Sue,
not going to be aligned.
How it's not going to be in alignment, and your karma is going to be all jacked up, and you're not going to be happy if you're married to someone who doesn't have a spiritual path with you.
And even if you break up with Susan and quit your job at McDonald's, but you go get a job at the state and get with Sally. If that's not what your soul wants you to do,
you still gonna have negative karma. You still searching,
but you making more money and you might be in a quote unquote better relationship,
bigger house, nicer house, and
but if you're not aligned with your soul purpose,
you still have to deal with that karma. And so karma isn't a end all be all either. Karma is a setup for moksha. Moksha is liberation. I did what I was supposed to do, and now I've achieved the object of my human pursuit, thus I'm liberated. Otherwise, you just be chasing, and you be going through shit. So, the last video, the law of rhythm, we talked about the negredo, and that was the blackness, and that was really coming to terms with your pain and suffering. There is no other way to spiritual enlightenment. No amount of money, like no retreat for $15,000 or $34,000 at Tony Robbins and him making you walk over coals will not afford you spiritual enlightenment. Spiritual enlightenment comes through dealing with your shit. There's no other way. And if you have negative karma, it's best not to repress it and suppress it. It's best to deal with it so you can liberate yourself. Realize that, okay, the reason why I'm struggling, the reason why things are not going right for me is because I'm not aligned with my spirit. I guarantee I'll bet any amount of money, and we could sign a contract. We could do whatever you want to do to make this shit legit. If you align with your soul, you alleviate all pain and suffering, and all problems will be eliminated. How do I know? Because I'm living it. Because I'm experiencing it. And my life isn't perfect, but it is very, very, very peaceful knowing that my soul has me as opposed to Donald Trump. So, there's a big difference. So, really understanding karma and really understanding cause and effect as opposed to it just being some weird ass thing that you feel as though if you give old ladies a hug, then you'll get money. Like, it's weird. Cause and effect and karma is representing actions that are totally inspired outside of the divine. So your karma is all the shit that you've been doing outside of divine, outside of your soul that you have to deal with. And that's just a fact. If you didn't know that you had a soul that was all powerful, like if you believe that what they told you in church, that God was in the sky looking down on you, then you've been living your life as such, thinking that God was in the sky looking down on you. And that was a mistake. So if you lived every day like that, every minute you woke up, you prayed to God before every meal, you prayed to God every night, you said, thank you, God, for waking me up, and all of this weird shit, but never knew that God was on the inside of you. Imagine God being on side of you every single waking moment. Every time you was in the back alley doing something strange for a piece of change, God was in you, just looking at you like, okay, is this what we doing now? All right. You think you getting away with it, but God is always in the midst. Like he is in you. He is in you. So I have to be right and exact. I have to at least be honest, even if I'm doing fuck nigga shit. I tell my girl in a minute how I'm really feeling, and not to say what I'm gonna actually do, but hey, I got these feelings arising in me right now. This is what's happening. I'm just letting you know, so if I do something crazy, you can't just be like it came out of nowhere. Shit been bubbling up in me for a while, so understanding that I do that so I don't suffer. Because it's amazing. The moment that I let it out of my system, I no longer have the feeling. It's amazing how that works. When you have a dharmic relationship, you have a relationship where you can be honest with that person, because that person is not with you for material things. That person is with you because you guys have a spiritual mission. That's a whole different level for fucking somebody because they cute. Because they turn you on, because you attracted to them. I've been in those types of relationships. I tried to build a life with a cute bitch before. I don't mean to use the word bitch derogatorily either. That's the worst thing you could possibly do, to love somebody for physical attraction.
Because looks don't last always.
And even if they do, that person will do you dog dirty. And they could be the finest person in the world. Trust me, I wasn't the only person that thought that. And even if I was, if it wasn't spiritually centered, if it wasn't a dharmic relationship, then it would present negative karma. I remember I had this negative karmic situation so bad. It was like every spirit in the world was pushing me away from her, but she looked so good that I couldn't shake it.
But you got that.
Listen, it was crazy. Like, it was crazy. Like, because when we first met, she had a fully furnished house. And then, like, she got bed bugs all of a sudden. So, like, she had to get rid of her couch. So, but we would still hang out. So it went from like hanging out on the couch, like just hanging out on the floor, because I was that thirsty. And then we was like, fuck it, let's go upstairs to the bed. Like, probably fucked on the bed for like 10 minutes. That bitch broke. Like, it was crazy. Like, but my ego wanted this relationship to work, bro.
But your soul didn't.
But my soul was like, nigga.
That's why your ass is getting ate up by bed bugs.
Car got stolen. Like tires flat. Like, everything that went wrong, that could go wrong, went wrong. And I wasn't aware of my soul at that time. I was only aware of my penis and what he wanted. And so I suffered for that. So I say that to say that this relationship is completely different. The law of cause and effect asks the question, what came first, the chicken or the egg? You can think about this for the rest of your life and never come up with an answer. This is why we want to rise above the law of cause and effect, because it gets you nowhere. If you have a cause, if you feel like, oh, I got it, cause and effect, so everything that I want to have, it's like The Secret uses the law of cause and effect and exploits it, and it makes niggas think that, okay, all I have to do is say that I want $1 million and the effect will be $1 million. I wish it was that easy.
I think we would have a couple.
Because I would have a few millies right now. If it was that easy as setting the attention, all of these weird Facebook niggas talking about their manifestation plans, like, if it was that easy to just repeat some shit, no, that's causality. That's cause and effect. That's a loop. That's a dangerous way of looking at life. The law of cause and effect is like the law of murder. Just because you know the law of murder don't mean you're supposed to go out and kill somebody because you know the rules. Like, well, it ain't premeditated. If I just do it in an act of passion, I get less time. Like, so you know all the rules to murder, so you know the perfect ways to murder. No, you're supposed to rise above that to know that, okay, if I do kill somebody, this is what's happening, but I don't want to do that. You know, like the law of rhythm, the law of polarity, you want to get out of that shit. That's why you study it. That's why you learn. Because the law of cause and effect is simply saying, I hate working, but I need enough money so I don't have to work. And the only way I can make money is by working.
So you go get
but I hate working.
So you go get a better job that makes a better, quote unquote, better job that makes more money.
Yeah. And therefore,
you're still in that cycle.
And you're still in the cycle. And you don't understand that by simply aligning with your spirit and your soul is all you have to do.
And it's like your soul be just screaming out.
And it screams and it lets you know. It lets you know all the time. And so since it's so subtle, though, it takes a considerable effort to really establish the basis for you personally to rise above the law of cause and effect. And so even to hammer the idea home, there is a concept in psychology and philosophy called innatism. And innatism says that everybody is born with ideas and knowledge, that therefore the mind is not a blank slate at birth. You have the knowledge and the pathways and the situations already within you. When I grew up in Boston, it was particular points, like being like on the harbor or downtown, like being close to the water, where the shit just felt familiar. But I would just be like, what is this I'm smelling? Like, this feels familiar, like just being downtown at times. I didn't ever really know what that feeling was until I went to New Orleans. And New Orleans reminded me of Massachusetts, but Massachusetts reminded me of New Orleans, but I'd never been to New Orleans. But I knew that when I was in Massachusetts that I had been in a situation similar to this. And even more so when I went to New Orleans, I knew my way around. Mm-hmm. I just knew where to go. And I felt like I've been there before. And we want to discuss this concept of innatism. You may be feeling like I need to get the fuck out of XYZ. And you're right. What's holding you back? Fear. So, you have to trust your innatism. You have to trust your innate ability moreover than your fear of what a person is telling you. Innatism is the same thing that teaches a baby how to crawl. Like, who teaches a baby how to crawl? Nobody. Who teaches a baby how to speak? Nobody. You have an innate ability to speak and to move. You ever look at your kid moving, going somewhere, like, where is he going? Where do he think he going? In his mind, he know exactly what's happening and what's going on. And even so, they have a study going on in Swiss called the Blue Brain Project. And you can look this up just because a lot of times people think I'm just making stuff up. but look up the Blue Brain Project, and they're actually creating a brain, a human brain. And in order to understand a human brain, they figured out some stuff. They understand that there's neurons in your brain that are not based upon knowledge, because it's no way that I should know my way around New Orleans. And I was doing crazy shit too. I wasn't even like just driving through the city. Like, I remember the bridge was blocked because we was in Gretna and we was downtown in New Orleans, but we had to get to Gretna without taking the bridge. And I knew the way. I just drove straight there. I drove straight to the hotel.
No GPS.
No GPS or nothing. I promise. And I'm not even saying that to brag. I'm just saying that to say that within us, there is complex knowledge that we could utilize within ourselves if we want to tap into it. Don't think that you have to learn everything. Don't think that you have to figure everything out before you move.
And I think that's our problem. Like, we feel like we have to figure everything out and we have to think about
Trust
things
yourself.
when all we have to do is trust ourselves, because intuition, our primitive thinking, would never stare.
It would never, your reptilian brain, like we talked in our last video when speaking on the Losha. That part of your brain, you see that green highlighted point right there? That's your go-to. That's why meditation is important. That's why cutting niggas off is important. So you can tap into yourself. And you want to have those dharmic relationships, those relationships that align with your soul. Now, a lot of y'all is in relationships with people that you think is cute. And that's when you come to me and ask me for readings. And you can hit me up at hoodmystic@gmail.com at any time. I do them all the time. Well reviewed. If you want to check out some reviews, I'll send them to you. We can do this thing. You know what I'm saying? But we have to be diligent with it and understand that 99% of the people talking about consciousness got it all wrong. And so it's important for us to like get a grasp on it on an individual level, and not be trying to worry about who we trying to bring in or who we trying to help. At a certain point, we got to help our damn selves.
In order to help anyone else.
Yeah, let's align with our souls. Let's align with our dharma. You know what I'm saying? And you would have to start at the beginning of this video to really fully grasp what I'm actually talking about, and just kind of start it over again, because now that we got to the crux of it, now go back and try to just put this thing together. And honestly, if you listen to what I'm saying, it's really some freeing codes in there. So pay attention, man. This is the Hood Mystic, representing hoodmystic.com. And I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. It's 11:11. Perfect time to stop. Peace.